please like, share, subscribe. Let's get this out there. Let's get this message out there and see if we can make a difference.
Hi, and welcome to the first One Idea podcast. Well, this is my introduction to my podcast, actually. My name's Russ, and this is what we're going to do for our podcast. This is to tell you about what it is, what's different, why I'm trying to do this. So what I'm going to do is get friends on and other people and people who I hope have got an interesting story, and talk to them about their life and about things and about what they think and about anything they want to bring to the table, really, to just give them an open platform. I'm going to try and get people from all over the world and from different walks of life and do that to get them. What I really want them to do is comment on my idea, my one idea. And that's what I'm looking for, a one idea, is what I see. I'm really frustrated with the world. It's absolutely making me go crazy at the moment. I see there's loads of problems, and I see everybody shouting about the problems, and everybody's shouting about different problems, so there's just noise. So in the old saying of divide and conquer, that's what happens naturally. We just divide and conquer, so nothing really fundamentally gets changed. Only small incremental changes are made just to keep the peace, just to keep it where it wants to be. Whether you believe that we are being controlled by aliens and they're a super being that's doing it, or you just believe it's governments and there's mismanagement, it doesn't really matter. And that's what I want. To stop you don't believe the same as me, so you're stupid, and you're this and you're stupid, and I'm red, you're blue, I hate you, and you're a liberal and I'm not. And we must be able to find things that we all agree on. And the question I want to ask you really is, if you close your eyes and think, is this the world I want to leave my children, or is this the world I want to live in? Or you think about what type of world I want to leave my children, what type of world I want to live in, is probably a better way of putting it. Does it look like what it looks like out there? And for me, it's no. I think it could be a lot better if you look at the world and look at all the people in the world, and then you think, okay, is there enough resources in the world for everyone to live comfortably? And the answer is yes. That's not even thinking about money, because money isn't important. We don't eat money, do we? But we have to use money because that's the system we live in. So is there enough money in the world for everybody? Yes. So why are people starving? I think we can agree on that, can't we? We don't want to see people starving. Can we agree on that one? Yeah. I think you ask nearly anybody, they don't want to see people starving. How about wars? Can we agree that we don't want any more wars? I've never spoke to anyone who says, I think we need a war. Unless you're saying it sort of satirically about we need to keep the population down. Wars, for me, are never any good. They're not for me, they're not to protect people, and this is my view on it. And the reason why I don't think it's right doesn't matter. As long as we both agree that, or we all agree that wars aren't a good thing, so we can agree on that. So that's another thing. This is the important one I think that we need to agree on. Taxation is wrong. So when I'm working, I pay every bit of tax I need to pay. Why? If I've got lots and lots of money, are there loads of ways that I don't need to pay the correct amount of tax? That's my one idea. If we all come together and say, governments, wherever you are, sort out the tax system, scrap tax havens, scrap offshore bank accounts, scrap shell companies, scrap trust deal things, whatever it is, where you can put all your money in somebody else's name and then you don't pay tax on it. Scrap the tax breaks, scrap the tax fiddles, scrap the moving around money from one company to another so they don't pay any tax. Get rid of all these things. Simplify the tax system so it's fair. Then we stop a lot of other arguments about, food banks and about this place not having enough funding. In the UK, it's about the NHS and education. And in America, we hear things about similar sorts of things, that we haven't got enough money, for the unemployed, we haven't got enough jobs, we haven't got enough of these things. But this will all start to fall into place when there's that money comes back in, and when the government's bringing in the correct amount of money, they'll be able to pay off the loans. I'm going to just pick some figures out the air for this one. So I think it's about 7%, but we'll say 10. So at the moment in the UK, when people pay tax, about 10% of that money goes towards paying loans off from mismanagement of funds, really, isn't it? Because the country is in debt, and it's going to be in more debt now after this pandemic. So that means, let's say 20% of all that money is going. So if you're all paying your taxes, and then Google, Amazon, all these super huge companies aren't paying enough taxes, those loans are going to keep going up and you're going to keep getting taxed more. So my one message is we all come together. We stop bickering about small things. It's like racism, sexism, what else? This country's better than this country, this football team, this is this and this and this, and about the pandemic, everyone's arguing. So nothing happens. Because we're always arguing about things, nothing happens. And if we can get this one thing sorted, then maybe we can agree on something else after that. But let's try and get one thing sorted, make our voice heard, make a difference, make this a better world. And that's what I want. I want us all to start talking about that and just keep talking about it. It'll get boring, it'll get repetitive, but we need to say no. Enough is enough. You need to change the tax system. And from that, lots of many things filter down, and we start to take control back from the politicians and everything that we gave control to. Because what they're doing is they obey their paymaster. And their paymasters, whatever big companies, banks or whatever, they're their paymasters. They're not looking after our best needs. The best needs of those big companies and rich individuals. And it doesn't matter whether it's Labour, Conservative, Liberal, Democrat. What I noticed when I was living in the UK is whatever happened, I always seemed to get a raw end of the deal with regards to government, because I was a single white male earning over average amount of money. So I'd always get taxed more. It didn't matter whether it was Labour or Conservative, it didn't matter, I still got taxed. They were just moving money around. We still always had to pay the same tax, and those big companies and rich people didn't have to pay enough. It's time to change. You want to moan about there's not enough money for here, there's not enough money for there. Now, this is what we do. We just do one thing. I see people asking for money for charity all the time, and it's something I'll say. And you need to hear me out on all of it. The headline is horrible to listen to, and people don't like listening to it. Charity doesn't work anymore. Charity is a multi-billion-dollar industry cleaning up after multi-billion-dollar industries make a mess. What should happen, if, we'll see, if the correct taxation is on the bigger companies, that charity won't be needed. You won't have to give more of your money. Because who pays these charity things? It's you. This should be a government responsibility. With this lockdown, people who haven't got enough money, should be a government responsibility. They chose to lock the country down, so they should be able to pay for it. And if they're taxing those companies properly, then they can afford to pay for it. I know it's a very simplistic thing. Let's make it simple. Simple ideas, big results. And that's what I want. That's what I really want from this, is everybody to come together one message, change the world and change the future. Change the future for everybody. Now, I haven't got children, but if you've got children, surely you don't want the world that you're living in now and what we're going towards. Maybe you call me a pessimist, but I don't see a good future, especially after this pandemic. It frightens me what's going to happen. They've got everyone scared, so they'll do whatever, and now they know that. So, it's a difficult situation. We need to be the ones who make the decision. I'm sorry to tell you, but voting doesn't do that. Voting just changes the person in front of you. Decisions need to be made, and we need to make them. And this is the big one. Get the big things right and let the small things fall into place after. We're all arguing with each other. I'm arguing and I'm telling people this on Facebook and saying all these things, and then I'm just making people angry. So I just make the other side angry. So I'm actually doing the work for them because I'm creating that divide. We can't do that anymore. We don't need to anger ourselves. Forget the labels that we give ourselves. Oh, I'm Russ, I'm from the UK. I'm Russ and I'm Liberal. I'm Russ and I'm Labour. I'm Russ and I'm whatever it is. I hate so-and-so because I think they're stupid because they do this. Just creating a divide. I'm Russ. Full stop. Judge me on my behaviour, not on my beliefs. We should all be able to have different beliefs and what we think. Judge me on my behaviours, whether that's good or bad, and judge me as an individual, not as a collective for something else. As soon as I say one of those things and put a label on it, I hear it coming out of America so much. Oh, I'm African American, I'm Irish American, I'm so. It's like, stop the labels. It's giving you a divide. It divides us. Countries divide us anyway. One of my first questions is always, where are you from? And these things just divide us. Automatically, it's almost saying like, I want an argument. And that's what the world's become, is all arguing. And who's the easiest people to control? People who are arguing with each other. Frightened or arguing. One of the two, it doesn't matter. Or both is even better. And then you're easy to control. And we don't look at these high level things then, like I'm looking at now, is high level. Because nobody sees it, because we're arguing over small things. So what I want is one message. If we can all get that out, all say that needs to change, we take the power back. Because power is an illusion. There's only a few of them. There's lots of us people who are just going about our daily life. And what do most people want? Just want to enjoy your life. That's it, isn't it? You want to enjoy your life. You don't want to see people suffering. And that includes war, poverty and everything. You know what I mean? And if we can sort that out, wouldn't the world be a better place? So let's start with one thing. One thing, get that fixed, and then we'll reevaluate after that. I hope you join me. Peace out. One idea.